me run through my notes real quick.
Yeah.
So it started with the whole dick pussy thing, and we were like, "What's that about?" And then they start.
Word. What's up, everybody?
We're back.
CBBC. Comic Book Club
CBBC.
is back. It feels like it's been a million years. I was just telling Corey, since we don't see each other as regularly as we were at one point in time, it feels like it's been like months when
Well,
it's
we can
actually
talk
only
about
been
before comically gaming. You know?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So what's
Been
up,
too
man?
long. Not much. How you doing?
I'm good. Good. I
What you been
read
reading?
I read a fair amount this past session. I'm a little behind, to be honest. I'm not normally I read within the week of publish,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and
You're nowhere near as behind as me.
I think I'm 2 weeks behind. Like I haven't read House of X yet, and so
Oh wow, really?
yeah, I don't know. That's fresh. That's what, dude. And people are swearing by. That's what we're gonna cover that in our next episode.
Yeah.
House of X #1, but like it's the most buzz I've seen around the X universe
This year.
a long time.
Yeah, around the X universe or of any comic book this year, I would say almost.
For
Like,
superhero books, yeah, totally.
right. Yeah.
And it's no coincidence that it's right after Disney got rights
Right.
from
I may
Fox.
as well talk about it. I was gonna bring this up in my week, but I read it, and we're gonna talk about it next.
Nice.
We'll talk about it next show. So everyone read it because it is fucking great.
It's
That's
prime
all I
time.
have to say. I
I
really
can't
like
wait.
it. Yeah, it's
Because, dude,
it's wild. It's wild. There's so many things I want to talk about, like in it and what they're doing now, and it's really really great. I can't wait to talk about it next episode. So
I knew strictly based on the team that Hickman picked for the books, outside of what he's doing. I saw
yeah.
the other writers that he picked, and I was like, "Oh my god, let's do this! I'm so freaking ready."
Yeah, it feels good. Like I feel like I didn't realize how much I missed the X-Men until I read this. And I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be fucking awesome, dude. I'm
Yeah.
so glad they're hot again. They're on top. Like X-Men, Fantastic Four, those are two of my favorites for sure, and they're both really good right now. It seems like so.
And it's great in terms of the MCU is that they have that ace up their sleeve now, like where if people start to get tired with whatever's going on with all the news that we got, just if
Yeah.
they do, they got that to turn to and just inject a whole different amount. Like, whew.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They are boss hogging all over the place.
Yeah, and just started working a new job, and it's kind of a small place, and one of the kids I work with actually reads comics on the regular now. It's awesome to like, their comic books are coming back, dude. Like, and you gotta thank the MCU for that, to be honest. Like,
oh, totally. But also, I mean, some people, it's kind of split between. You have one crowd that says like, and this is true to an extent. The comic books are kind of the farm team for the films in a way. They're not seen as like, hey, you guys generate the storylines and we'll just adopt them wholesale to the cinema, because that's not what they're doing. But they are using ideas from the books and and taking that interest that people have in the books and injecting that in mass to the screen,
And
and it's not an exact science because DC seems to not get it right.
they can't figure it out. No.
Right.
But
I mean,
but
if it was as
Marvel,
easy,
yeah. But Marvel, Kevin Feige, and everybody at Marvel right now, it's a great time to be a Marvel fan because I mean, just the way both of them feed off each other. Like the movies are making people want to read comic books, and
Yeah.
people who already read comic books obviously want to watch the movies, and they're killing it. Like
Yep.
it's people go out, people love these movies so much that they want more,
Yeah.
and then so they go and buy the comics, and then they get into
Right.
comics, and they're like they're doing it right now, and
Yes, they
and
are.
especially like the way they're like Immortal Hulk and certain comics they're
Oh,
pushing the edge with certain comics and like getting more adult oriented. They have comics for like every person. It's
right.
like they're doing so good right now.
I know.
But,
They're getting better in some ways. I dude,
they were
I'm
falling
glad
off like 2 years
they
ago. We were
were. They
talking
were.
shit about them. We were talking shit about them a
Yes,
year
we
ago.
were.
And they somehow it seems like they've turned it around.
It's true. I do remember that. I specifically was talking. I think it was me and you. We were talking a lot of shit,
Yeah.
and then like they had Immortal Hulk and Venom, and now it's just snowballing. I think they're giving creative control to the right people finally.
Yeah.
You know.
Probably looking at Image.
Speaking of, I just had this brainstorm. We keep imagining like nobody can get a Hulk movie right? Like they just can't do it and pull it off. So why not do a show? Why not do an Immortal Hulk TV show? How
Right, yeah.
sick would that
That
be?
would
Anyway,
be awesome.
I just thought about
I love the original Hulk show.
Yeah,
With,
exactly.
What's his name? Lou something or
Oh, it's David Banner.
no,
Lou Ferrigno. Yeah.
Lou Ferrigno. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that shit
I used
terrified
to
me.
watch that on the Sci-Fi Channel.
the old Hulk show terrified me when I was a kid. I was like, that dude is scary looking. Anyway, I didn't read a whole bunch, but what I did read was pretty solid. I actually read Lois Lane, #1. Which is
I wanted
odd,
to read that. Yeah.
but I didn't realize that Greg Rucka wrote it before I started reading it. Yeah. It's Greg Rucka. So it was awesome. I totally dug it because he's just great. He's great at writing women.
Black Magic, right?
Yeah, Black Magic and Lazarus. Yeah.
Oh man, and now I really want to read that.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was really good. The Martian Manhunter series continues to be like a top 3 DC book that's put out. Absolutely. It's like and #6, which is the last one I just read that came out, is the best in the series thus far. It's so good, man. Like I cannot recommend that book hard enough.
I should check it out. My dad really likes Martian Manhunter.
I didn't know anything about him, but this is like a very, very different take on him. Like if you can, the only comparable that I think that's out there is the when Tom King did Vision. It was that sort of left field take,
Have you read Meet the Skrulls?
Yes, I loved it.
That kind of reminded me of Vision. At least I read the first issue.
Absolutely. Then you would love Martian Manhunter. It's the same vein. It's like, yeah, it's just it shows what his home life was like on Mars, and it's crazy. It's great, and the art is so insane. But I just read last night Second Coming #1, which is the book that was dropped. I don't remember who the original publisher was that dropped it. It might have been Dark Horse, but
what is it?
It's called Second Coming #1. It's Mark Russell is the writer. I don't remember the artist, but it's about Jesus being a roommate with a superhero.
Really?
And it was so controversial before they even published it that he got dropped. I think it was Vertigo. It was Vertigo. That's who had it, and Vertigo dropped it. So he had to look for publishers outside of them, and Ahoy Comics picked it up and published it.
Yeah.
And they have this whole like writing in the back about how like basically he's like giving his argument for why and how he did this book, and then the publisher wrote a piece about how they're supporting him. I was like, is this really that big of a deal? Like,
Really?
yeah, it's crazy. Oh my god, it's so good.
Really?
It's
that
fantastic.
Sounds good.
It's first of all, Mark Russell is probably the funniest guy in comics right now. He did the
Russo brothers.
Huh?
Is he part of the Russo brothers that do like?
No. Mark Russell. It's Russell.
Russell. Okay.
Yeah, he did the Snagglepuss book that I couldn't shut up.
Oh yeah.
And he also did the Flintstones book, I think. Yeah, and then he did he's doing the Wonder Twins for DC right now, which is also awesome. He's a fucking funny writer, dude. And I think if you like his writing, Second Coming is brilliant in a lot of ways.
Of all those you just listed off, the premise of Second Coming sounds the most up my alley. So I definitely
so funny.
Check it out.
It has to do with the fact that like Christ comes down and his dad's like yelling at him and stuff, and and like he comes back to heaven, and then the superhero shows up on Earth, and God sees him and is like, why aren't you doing stuff like that? I'm sending you back down there to live with him, and then it's all their like interactions, the superhero with Jesus, and it's so crazy.
Nice.
It's so good, man. But my favorite.
I've always wanted a Jesus team up. So.
Absolutely. I feel like this book could go anywhere too. When I'm reading, I'm like, he could do anything with this. It's crazy. But my favorite was Show and Tell, Blade Runner 2019 #1, which I don't know this team at all. It's Michael Green and Mike Johnson, and it's from Titan Comics.
Titan.
Yeah, I've never even heard of. I'm not familiar with that publisher. But I mean, if you like the movies, either of them, the original 2049.
I haven't seen 49 yet, but I love the original. This just
fits snugly into that universe. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, you feel like you're in that again. Just everything about it. It immediately grabbed me. So I'm totally in on Titan Comics apparently. So.
Nice.
What did you read?
It's my turn. I read a decent amount. I read Arrow #1.
Wow.
That you sent to me, that anime looking Marvel book.
Oh, Arrow, AERO. I was thought you just meant ARRO, like
not
Arrow.
Not Arrow. Arrow. Yeah, I read that, which I love. If you guys have watched Complete Gaming, you'll know I'm the anime fan. Dirk is too, but
you don't get many anime books out there, comics for some reason. There's not a whole lot of them.
No, unless
it's different from manga. It's not the same because manga's black and white. It just feels a lot different than seeing what I think looks like an anime movie.
It's 100% different from manga. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's all it is the art style, to be honest.
Right.
It's just they're just using anime art style and putting it into current comic books, and which is awesome because I love anime art style. But the book is, it was all right.
Yeah.
It was kind of a generic superhero's origin story. Like it was,
I don't even
I
remember.
I give it a 7 or something.
Yeah.
But,
But the visuals were
but not
nice.
bad.
I wish I could see more like that in terms of an anime style. I know
Yeah.
Isola does that with Image. It's a very sort of Disney anime style.
Well, that's what I was looking up before the show. Swordmaster #1 just came out last week.
Check that
And
out.
if you look at that, Swordmaster #1, it's 100% anime style. So it looks like Marvel is they're trying to like they're
I
trying to
see
break
it.
into the anime style books or something.
And it's Greg Pak that wrote it.
Yeah, yeah, but totally anime. Look at the cover; it's super anime. So, but that actually has pretty good reviews too. But
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's Greg Pak. Greg Pak's pretty solid.
yeah,
And it is an Eastern book. They said newish Chinese superhero. So
yeah.
there you go.
So it looks like Marvel is they're heading in that direction. The anime's blowing up, so they're trying to get their piece of it, obviously. But
Yeah.
other than that, I read a bunch of Amazing Spider-Man, which is all right, and I read the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1, which I really liked.
Yes. Tom Taylor, dude. He's so awesome.
Yeah, it's super good. But I want to catch up to where Peter Parker is in Amazing Spider-Man before I start reading Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Is there an order there or something?
Yeah, I mean, there was stuff
that
happened in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man that gets explained in the previous issues of the Amazing Spider-Man. So, that's.
I got you. I didn't know that. I jumped in because people could not stop talking about that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and I was like, that's such a terrible name for a series. I was like, I thought it was for kids, and it's very much not for kids.
No, yeah, really good though. And then House of X, yeah, we already talked about that. It's fucking awesome. That's next episode. And then the other book that I read that was suggested by Mel something.
Yes, she's one of our big fans now.
Yeah, If you follow our Discord or YouTube, you'll see her up in there.
Shout out to Mel.
Mel, shout out to Mel. Witches, and so
I read. Right, dude. Scott Snyder.
Yeah, I read all 5 issues of that. Dude, that was fucking awesome.
It's awesome.
Really good. Like one of the best comics I've read this year. That'll be on my top 10 this year.
Well, if you go back and watch the show from last year, it was in my top 10.
Was it?
Yeah.
Damn, and I slept on it.
Well, because when you tell somebody a generic name like Witches, and it was really hard for me to describe what exactly it's about and to convey the feeling and the style that book is done in. You just have to read it for yourself.
For sure. And he's the volume 2 is coming out this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this year. He's working on it right now. They're both working on it.
Oh my God, it's so good. That's Jock is the artist that did that, because the art is very important in it.
Yeah. Same writer, same artist. They're working together right now on the
my God.
So,
yes.
It's gonna be dope. Can't wait. But yeah, that's it. That's what I read. So
cool. Before we head into the next section, one more note about Swordmaster #1. Apparently, this is going to tie into our next section. Shang-Chi is involved. So
yeah.
That's crazy. You see, Marvel's brilliant at this. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
And speaking of, we had a little event, not this weekend, but the previous weekend, which we'd like to talk about, which is San Diego Comic-Con 2019. I think it's hit or miss. Some years you don't know if a whole lot of news is going to drop, but Marvel decided to drop their load this year. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
got
you can always expect something, but this year was bigger than
over the
most.
top. Absolutely. Yeah. So Marvel sketched out their next 2 years, or 3 years, because it's 2021.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a lot, and I didn't realize. Also, they hinted at what's coming in Phase 5. Um,
Yeah.
no set dates, but just
Phase
some
5's gonna be dope.
some very crazy news, and we'll just kind of go through these real quick, bullet pointish, and try to hit these up and what we like about them. The chief, the lead, the kickoff with Marvel was the Eternals movie, which is
That,
big. I mean,
that's
I
next in
love.
line, right?
Yeah, it's next, and I think it's meant to be a sort of tentpole movie. I don't know. Maybe it's a standalone, and maybe we don't ever see those characters again. But
No.
it feels like it's so crazy that they're going like in this direction. They're going full cosmic now.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm so surprised by the Eternals movies still. Like it's
Yeah.
because I don't know shit about the Eternals. Like
Dude, you know
I
what I
knew
can
the
recommend?
Guardians of the Galaxy, like as a Marvel reader, I knew the Guardians of the Galaxy before they came out with it, and everybody acts like that was their proof that they can do something with nothing.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the Eternals are at all, and I've read Marvel for the past fucking 15 years.
Watch
Like
this.
it's
I'm doing this live. This is live, like in real time, going to my bookshelf. Um, so Neil Gaiman wrote for Marvel. He wrote an Eternals graphic novel, which is like,
really.
if you want to get the best plot and reader up on those characters that are going to be in this movie, absolutely go and get this book, dude. You will absolutely. It's Neil Gaiman. That's a no
Yeah.
brainer, and it's him doing Marvel characters, which is awesome. He's only done it a few times, but this was I think the publication was maybe 2000, early 2000s. I'm not sure the publication date, but all the characters that are in the movie are in here. So,
Really.
if you want to get a
I'll
briefer on
definitely
them,
read that. Yeah. What is
yeah, I
that?
mean,
What is that? Just a regular size graphic novel?
yeah,
Hardcover? Like
yeah,
5 issues or something?
yeah. It's like 4 or 5, and John Romita Jr. does the art, so it's fantastic inside.
Okay. I'll
It's
definitely read that.
absolutely, it's you'll pay your money and be happy with your purchase. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's 7 issues, so.
Damn. Okay.
But if anybody out there is curious about like Marvel's lead-off movie and looks at that title and says, "I don't know what the fuck's going on," go and read
Read
Neil
that.
Gaiman's Eternals. Yeah, absolutely. Um, the chief stars in the movie, Richard Madden, who we know from Game of Thrones as Robb Stark. I can't believe he's getting a lead. A
Yeah.
lead. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
As like the focus, because he's going to be the main character in that movie. Um,
Good actor though.
yeah, no, he's good. I kind of forgot about him because I'm not going
Yeah.
to go into spoilers, but
Yeah. The
I hadn't
wedding.
seen him in a while. And Angelina Jolie and Selma Hayek both are being introduced to the Marvel
Yeah.
universe.
That's wild. That's.
I love Selma Hayek. Shout out,
I'm-
Selma.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of Angelina since Tomb Raider,
There
so
you go.
it's yeah, we'll see. They've proved they can do anything with any actors. Like I prefer to like my MCU films with unknown actors, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like those are the best ones when they pull it off, like Spider-Man. But but yeah, they've shown us they can do anything with anyone. In that, like Angelina Jolie and Selma Hayek, they're both great actresses. So.
I have no idea what to expect from this movie. I have no
Me neither.
expectations.
It's
like
so
zero.
weird. And they have like the power of Celestials. Like who?
Oh yeah, they're some of the most
it's-
powerful characters in the Marvel universe.
I mean, if they have the power of a Celestial, they could take out Captain Marvel like in one hit. So
Yeah.
like, how's that gonna work?
And there's a whole bunch of them. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
Talking about not having expectations, though, and being excited about no-name actors or people that are less familiar. I guess I don't want to be insulting, but I'm actually excited about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I mean, I guess it could be garbage, but I have a feeling it's not gonna be. I get the impression that they're maybe gonna go like this Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sort of vibe, which is so awesome if they do that.
Right. Yeah, it's I don't honestly like Shang-Chi. I've never even really heard of him.
No,
and I've never read a Shang-Chi comic. To be honest, like.
He's old school.
I love that. I love that we got a Marvel movie coming out with an Asian protagonist, and that's dope and shit. But I don't know anything about Shang-Chi, so I'm waiting for the trailer. Yeah, I'm waiting for the trailer. Let's see that trailer, and then I'll be hyped. But right now, it's hard. It's hard to be hyped about something I don't know much about. You know. What I mean?
Right. But I sort of get vibes, and I see that title, and I get a little excited. But I've seen one person on Twitter shout out like Shang-Chi, and they had like the original books and stuff, and that is so far back. I mean, that's like 70s, I think, early 70s, 60s even, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's definitely not anywhere close to what I was reading growing up. So I'm excited to see what they do with it, though. It's going to be awesome.
See. I'm sure it'll be great.
Speaking of awesome titles, shout it out.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
So great.
That's going to be fucking awesome, dude. With Scarlet Witch and the bullet points here. With Scarlet Witch, and that it's going to affect the WandaVision series. I mean, that's...
Lead right into it. Yep.
Oh my god!
And also, I was thinking about this point. When they start doing alternate universes in the comics, I'm not as crazy about it. Like, I start to get confused about who's what, the 616 universe, and like which Spider-Man is this, and that kind of stuff. But for some reason, in the MCU, I can see it working because you don't have to worry about that. In the comics, there's so many comics and so many different writers and artists doing stuff, whereas the MCU is more monolithic and it's just linear, Yeah. So you can actually reference back, and I think that a multiverse in the films would be better served than the comics. But
yeah, totally. Yeah. It gets too expansive when it's in comic books.
Yeah.
You get two fully different runs of comics.
And you can't read everything also.
Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, I don't know what's happening, in X-Force right now. There might be something that happens in there from a parallel universe that crosses over, and I have no idea. But the films, I'm gonna watch them all, so I know exactly what's happening. So
exactly, yeah.
I think that's awesome. If that's what they do with it, I imagine
they will. They have to.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last one, he went into the multiverse and challenged Dormammu or whatever. So
right. Yep. And then this is also huge, massive news was Thor: Love and Thunder, which is the second Taika Waititi's coming back to do this movie, but the big
and that
news.
was announced. That was announced before the big news was
Yes.
announced.
Yeah, it
You
was.
assumed it was going to be a Chris Helmsworth movie when that was announced.
Right. But then we get news that, I guess for some people it might be controversial, but for me it's a no-brainer. That we are getting a Jane Foster Thor, and Natalie Portman's going to be playing it. So
Yeah.
I think if you have read Jason Aaron's run with the Jane Foster Thor, this is a no-brainer to me. It was such a good story, dude. Just like the best. Probably better than most of the actual Odin Son Thor stuff that I've read from him. So I'm so like, if it even like is a hint of what Jason Aaron did in the books, I'm so about it.
Yeah, no, that was a great run of comics, and Natalie Portman is awesome, and
Yep.
I'm hyped for that shit, dude.
Dude, if they give her the mask and the blonde hair, holy crap.
She's gonna be so hot. She's gonna be so hot. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But
and just seeing her face when they presented Mjolnir to her just said it all to me. I was like, that's awesome, man. She looked like she was on cloud nine.
Yeah. I'm wondering if in the movie she's gonna suck it out of Thor's hand, because in the end of Endgame he had both, right? The hammer and the axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I wasn't expecting I knew he was coming back, but I didn't know if they would go in that direction, and they did. That's awesome.
Totally awesome.
I think the next one we're getting outside of Eternals is Black Widow.
Yeah, that'll be next.
Which I think is going to be great. I feel like Black Widow is underserved in a lot of ways, and when I read that series from 2 years ago, it was one of the best action sequence series that I've read. And if they do anything like that, also we're getting
where the first episode didn't even have any words in it, or the first issue. Yeah, that was an awesome series.
That was an awesome series. Yeah. So if they do something in that vein, I feel like it could be a great movie. Also, we're getting David Harbour joining the MCU as the Red Guardian. So, which is sort of the Soviet Union version of Captain America, or the Russian version of Captain America. So we'll see how that works out. Should be nice. He's all over the place now.
Yeah, he is.
But the biggest movie news, in my opinion, was Mahershala Ali being announced as Blade, and Blade returning, which will be in Phase 5. There's no date or anything, but they just wanted to drop that on people. Apparently, I learned that Mahershala Ali, after he got his Oscar, called Marvel, or contacted him and said, I want to do a Blade film. So he called it. He asked for it. Yeah.
It's wild. I don't know how they're going to put Blade into the MCU. That's...
I know. I'm trying to think.
Vampire Hunter? What?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no vampires in the MCU right now, so I don't... He's never been an Avenger or anything.
It is weird because all the Blade is loosely connected to Spider-Man because of Morbius, right? Morbius is the thread. Like, Morbius is the vampire that's in the MCU. That's the big one. And we're getting that movie from Jared Leto as Morbius from Sony. So it made sense that Sony would have done it, but I don't know. I know that
Marvel owns the rights.
Yeah. Mahershala Ali is a great. I mean, obviously, a fucking badass choice for it. But you do raise a good point. I don't know how they're gonna fit him in. So
Yeah. Could be a standalone, but they've
it could
never
be
done like they don't
isolated
really
ones.
do
Yeah, I
that.
know. It's
So,
even got the Marvel thing at the top,
right.
above Blade. So yeah, that's a good point, man. I didn't think about that. I was just so excited that he had taken the role that I didn't even think about how they're gonna do it.
Yeah. No, but he will be perfect as Blade.
Oh my God. Yeah,
So,
totally. Especially if he called and asked for it. It's like, damn.
right.
Uh,
So yeah, that was it for the Marvel news. So besides all the movies and everything, Disney Plus basically said, or Disney said that Disney Plus is going to be the tie-in between all the movies. So it sounds
yeah.
like we're all going to have to subscribe to this.
I was already planning it, unfortunately. I hate the fact that
Yeah,
I'm giving Disney any more money. They already have
right.
too much. But
$6 a month though, it's not terrible. So, but
yeah, I'll do it alone for one of these. I'll tell you when we get to it.
I know what it is for you. It's the what if, and I'll join it for the WandaVision. But anyways, so Disney Plus, um, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's the um, Baron Zemo apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's an animated one, right?
No. It's Sebastian Stan as Winter Soldier and Anthony Mackie as the Falcon. They're just reprising their roles. The only one I think is animated is What If, but
Oh,
I mean it could
really?
be cool. Yeah, that's the only one. I mean, I like Anthony. I really like Anthony Mackie as the Falcon, and I like those two characters. So I'm curious to see how it fits in and what the style of the show is like. I mean, if it's like an action, like a buddy cop action series, that could be cool.
Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like both of them. Bucky and Falcon are both great. So
yeah, totally.
and WandaVision. Um,
WandaVision. Yeah.
that's that's something I'm really excited for. To be honest, like that's gonna be. What's that show gonna be about? Is it gonna be about their family life tied in with superhero stuff,
It
or
could
like
be, but there's a lot of theories floating around online. Because it's very apparent that Wanda's got a larger role in this phase, in phase 4. She's starting to, if you see, I mean, it's connected to the multiverse, and because of how, if you remember House of M and how big that storyline was in Marvel, she was
yeah,
at the center of all that. There's some thoughts that maybe like she's gonna be involved, and they might start
yeah. I
picking
mean,
some Scarlet Witch
she's an
stuff.
Omega level. She's an Omega level mutant that
Yeah,
can change reality. So
right.
it's
I think, dude,
it
to
could.
be honest,
Uh,
if you remember in Endgame, spoilers, people, if you haven't watched Endgame, turn
yeah,
away. But if you remember when she's fighting Thanos, she holds her own against him for a little while, right?
yeah. She does. She's one of the only people who does. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
She could. She should be able to too. I mean, her
Absolutely.
powers are very strong. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And in
her,
House of M, she goes crazy and starts rewriting, history. And
yeah,
so
and
there's a lot to
her
play with.
relationship with the human android, like it's
Right.
I really hope that show's good. That's the one I'm most hyped for, to be honest.
It's a
But
great looking title, just like all the other ones too. Oh,
for
it's
sure,
awesome.
yeah.
So about it. Then next up we have Tom Hiddleston, shockingly, in my opinion, earning as Loki in the series. I'm assuming it's going to pick up where Endgame left off, where he splits off from that timeline with the gym,
Yeah, you're probably right.
and
Yeah.
whatever reality that he's got that he creates by doing that, because we don't see like it's kind of brilliant in for Marvel to do that, to drop that in the movie and to not revisit it and to set up their show.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
uh,
Disney has to be pumping so much money into this.
that they are,
Like,
but they have
it's,
money. I mean, they
right.
they've got money that nobody can even sniff. That's what makes it so hard to compete with.
Mm,
Uh, I'm shocked that Hiddleston's coming back to do a series. A lot of
right.
these, I'm kind of surprised that they're doing series because I don't know. It just doesn't seem like um, it's the kind of platform that actors would do. But I guess I'm wrong. Maybe they're being thrown money that we're not aware
Yeah,
of. I
it's
don't
got to
know.
be funny, dude. Uh, but anyways, the one that you're looking forward to.
My favorite, we're getting What If as the only and the first animated series in the MCU. And animated, they don't specify what type of animation. So I'm imagining it could be anything. It could be 2D, it could be CGI, whatever. It could be that Spider Verse sort of mix. Um,
Yeah,
I just
that'd be awesome.
my yeah, it just sounds awesome, and all of the actors and actresses in the
Right.
MCU up to this point are gonna star in it.
Yeah, as the voice actors. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Right.
Uh, I was always a huge fan of the What If comics growing up. So, um, and then having Jeffrey Wright from from Westworld as the Watcher, it's just amazing to me. I'm so ready for that. I mean, that's literally like why. I mean, I was gonna get Disney Plus already, but that just cemented it right there for me. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just always had a thing with things that weren't canon. Like, the what if is clearly not canon. So,
No, I mean, and it's
yeah.
one-offs. They don't really, they did that. They did that. Infinity Warps where they combined two characters into one, and it briefly held my interest, and then I was just like, I'm never gonna come back to this. Whatever. But for some reason, the what ifs, like you always knew it was gonna end at the end of that issue, so it was
Right.
really just like a self-contained story. You're just reading like what crazy shit might happen. It's almost like the Twilight Zone in the MCU, if you can
Yeah.
imagine that. That's
Yeah.
how I
Oh, I
see
can
it.
imagine that. I hope that's good then. Because that
Yeah,
could be really cool.
it could be
Yeah.
awesome, but now you have me a little worried. It could be also bad. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then last but not least, we're getting a Hawkeye film, which
All
the
kind
big
of
news,
show.
huh?
Show, not film.
Show. Sorry, not film. Show. Um, that's crazy. Is it a show? It is a
Yeah.
show, right?
It's a live action show with Jeremy Renner.
Of
He's gonna
course.
train Kate Bishop's in it. Kate
That's
Bishop.
so awesome.
And
That's the best part is the Kate Bishop edition. Yeah,
yeah,
I can't wait for that.
he's basically that's what I feel like is that it's him training her for the next like Avengers movie or whatever. Like this is gonna
Yeah,
be Hawkeye passing the bow,
right.
and
And then she'll come back
that's
in Phase 5 or something.
yeah, totally,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yep. I agree. That's gonna be awesome. So
yeah,
outside of the films and the streaming services, there's not a whole bunch of news. We learned that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is not coming in Phase 4.
that
Uh,
sucks.
uh, um, James Gunn said he wants to finish Suicide Squad first, so he's gonna. Which I don't blame him. He got burned by Disney. I would
Yeah,
want to finish the people that hired me after that first, also. So, uh, And then the other big news was that Kevin, was it, how do you pronounce his last name?
Beach?
Feige?
I said
Feige?
Feige.
um, he said, the big quote was, "There's no time to talk of mutants right now."
Yeah.
Which everybody thought was funny.
And he talked about Fantastic Four too.
The first family. So, yep.
Yeah.
So we know it's there.
He ended it.
Of course, we knew that they're
teasers,
about
dude.
it. I know.
We knew they were.
That's what everybody wants, but we're gonna have to wait a little while. It's good. It gives them time to cast everything, and
Yeah.
I saw people are trying to get Jim from The Office to be Mr. Fantastic. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Jim from The Office?
Yeah.
No. I love Jim from The Office, to be honest, but I don't see him as Mr. Fantastic. I hope that doesn't happen.
Oh man. There's so much just waiting for them to do. And I guess also DC had some news.
DC.
Yeah, DC had some news. We got the Watchmen trailer, which, in my opinion, does look awesome. Yeah, it's very much a Damon Lindelof product. I mean, it feels like it's like the leftovers are just continuing into the Watchmen universe. But it does. I think it looks great. I'll definitely be watching it as soon as it drops. In terms of comic book news, they actually released some comic book news. Tom King and Mitch Gerads, the team behind Mr. Miracle, are reviving Adam Strange. That was a big item. And then we also, in terms of streaming, we're getting a Harley Quinn animated series. I believe from the Batman, the animated series people. I could be wrong.
That's supposed to be good.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but maybe, I don't know. I think that's what it is. And then Doom Patrol, which is on DC Universe right now, announced that they're going to have season 2 on both DC Universe and HBO Max, which is HBO Max is the new Warner Brothers purchased HBO, and they're going to include that in their streaming. So I'm curious about that. I didn't get to see season 1 because I'm not getting DC Universe. I don't care what you put on it. And but I know that people have been raving about Doom Patrol, so I will pick up season 2 because I have HBO. So that was it. That was San Diego Comic-Con 2019.
Yeah, SDCC. Sorry we're a little late to the party, but
that's it.
We had to talk about it.
That was it. Later.
Shouldn't. We'll cut the laters. Whatever.
Yeah. Cool. On to our comic for the episode.
Black River.
We chose Black River. We read Black River by Josh Simmons, acquaintance of mine from back in the day. I used to be in a band called Glory B in the early 2000s, and Josh did a little mini Midwest tour with us where he traveled with us through a few cities. He played, and he also did the artwork for our third album, The First Power, and the inside, which he just blew me away. The artwork, I couldn't believe what he did for us, and
really good.
Yeah, and then he went on to have a comic book career, which he's currently engaged in. I think he's got several publications out, but this is the one that I always see that pops up for him. It's by Fantagraphics Books is the publisher, and Josh did the writing and the art, cover, everything.
He did everything.
He did everything. He's a self-made man. Let's see. So, what'd you think, Corey?
What did I think? All right. It was a wild ride. I'll give you that much. I actually, I guess I'll just go with it. That I really liked what he was shooting for. Like
Yeah.
he was trying to with the band of like women surviving the apocalypse, like Walking Dead style.
Strange
And
women.
I mean,
Also.
strange women.
I guess
Yeah,
everybody was strange in it, but
yeah, but either way, it's the band of women. Like it was the stuff they went through. Like it was a really intense comic. I'll give it that.
yes, it's
Very
not
intense.
for the easily
No,
squeamish.
no, not for the easily squeamish. Very intense, but I feel like I didn't know the characters well enough to feel emotion throughout
Yeah,
the whole thing. Like it was too short. Like if he could have had the run like Kirkman had, where he could set it up and bring them through this, and then I would, I could, but I just didn't feel anything for these
no,
characters. So it was just kind of a triad of events that were just terrible, one after another, the whole thing, and then it was over, and I was like, wow.
I got the feeling that,
That was
and
rough. Like the art was amazing. I loved it.
the
I
art was
really
amazing.
loved the art.
Yeah, in fact, the highlight of the book for me was the art. I mean, the widescreen, when he would hit the widescreen visuals, when he would do the cityscapes particularly, but also the
Yeah,
countrysides
were dope.
with the skies, and that was always his strength. I mean, when he did that art for us with Glory B, it was the same thing. His big picture stuff was amazing because of his level of detail and his viewpoints. Um,
Yeah.
that was definitely the highlight for me. But I do agree, like I feel like he was going more for a mood in the book than any sort of linear like attachment to the characters or emotional resonance. It just felt like he was trying to just fuck with you as a reader a little bit.
I mean, yeah. I guess I just felt like he didn't have enough issues to make his story into reality. Like,
Yeah, it could have
I'll, I'll,
stretched out.
let me run through my notes real quick.
Yeah.
So it started with the whole dick pussy thing, and we were like, "What's that about?" And then,
That was my
they
first
start,
word.
yeah, and then they started fucking each other in the tent, where the girl
Yep.
was fingering herself, and dude was fucking the girl, and they had the little orgy tent. And then
The orgy was gross.
after the orgy, the next morning, the girl drifted off on the ice, and they shot her in the head. And then they moved on to the tavern where they had the gumdrop that like completely fucked them. Like they're like, I'm gonna take some gumdrop. I'm gonna go away for a while, and like
Oh
it's
yes, the
basically like
gumdrop.
sounded like being on Duster, except for like 8 hours is what I would
Right.
imagine.
And that
Uh,
comedian on
uh,
stage.
yeah, and they murdered the fuck out of him. uh, and then they actually found the dick pussy after that.
They did.
It was painted on the wall, which was great. But then, they get captured. The dogs get killed. They killed Jake, the one guy that's with them, and
Let me
then they
ask you this.
proceed like,
Didn't it feel like a different book once they got captured? It did, right?
yeah, yeah, totally.
Because to me, like the first half, I was having trouble getting through it, and because it was so freeform, and I was like, what am I reading here? Like, what's happening? Like, I wasn't sure of what the action was, and I know that that's sort of like missing the point, I guess, and that you're trying to capture a feeling in it. But then I don't understand why you would shift midway in the middle of the book and then suddenly make it like, oh my God, I
Very
suddenly,
horrific.
are meant to
Yeah.
care about these characters. Like
Yeah.
if I like, I don't understand why that would have not been the case at the very beginning, but
Yeah.
because to me, you would have been better served just making it loosely freeform the same way that the first half was, or
Right.
doing a book where you kind of care about the protagonist and the characters around her.
Yeah, no, totally. In the second half, they were like acting like I should feel emotions for these people dying
and you
and
don't,
stuff, and I'm
because
like,
they're
oh,
cardboard anyway. I mean, they were cardboard from the
yeah.
beginning.
Even when the girl killed herself, like there was the suicide after they all got raped in the tents, and the one girl got murdered. The other girl killed herself,
Yeah.
and like they acted like it was a huge deal, but I was like, next page,
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
I will say the other highlight for me, which he didn't expand upon nearly enough, I feel like, but the snapshots that we did get, I really loved, was the villain. For the brief time that we got him, I thought the villain was fantastic. I mean, he was just so disturbing and like
Yeah,
ultra male, and preppy in this apocalyptic, afterverse. Um, I feel like we didn't nearly get enough of him.
yeah.
And then
That's how I
also,
felt with the whole thing.
yeah, we got snapshots, but not enough. But his personality really stuck out as like the most enigmatic thing to latch onto out of the book. Like that was one that like he really stuck out to me. I was like, okay, that's somebody that I identify as a character.
Right.
Like I didn't have trouble. I didn't mix him up with anybody else. Um, his best quote, by the way, was, "I walk through this dead world and my blood is on fire."
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was every once in a while we get moments like that, where it's like, holy shit, that's great, but it just wasn't continuous enough. I will say, I also, even though this had really nothing to do with anything, that stoning, that 8-panel stoning that happened, where she was in the
Yeah,
field and they're throwing rocks at her, was so brutal. I mean, it was so crazy because it was like it. I think it sums up the book perfectly. It went on for way longer than you expected it to go,
yeah,
and it was like it was a very gradual stoning. It was like you saw like a piece of her head fall in more and more and the moaning until she was dead, and there was
yeah.
nothing to redeem her at all. That's like that's it.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. That was, and then it ended on them running off. Like,
I didn't totally understand the ending either. I don't know. I think I wondered if the suicide near the end was trauma related. If she just took herself out.
yeah, I feel like it was.
Yeah, but again, like you said, I don't I don't know how you really latch onto them when they didn't lend themselves to be latched onto in the first place.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, the mood was great, but it was hard to connect to it.
Yeah, and there was basically like three events that happened in the whole series. Like
Yeah,
it was the bar, the raping scene, the final
yeah,
scene, and like in between that, it was pages of them walking. Like
yeah. I did
that.
like that. I felt like if he had
I
kept
liked it
the
too, but you can't afford to do that. Like I'm
right,
not going to pay $4 for one issue of walking.
yeah,
Yeah,
and if he had the length of time to do that in between actual moments that propelled the story forward, that would have
right.
been brilliant. It would have really,
Yeah, it
really
almost
worked.
feels like he should have like done his own indie thing. I don't even know if that's possible with comic books, but like he should have like took his time with it because I really liked the idea of the whole story, and like those horrific events that happened would be cool if there had been like an expansive time in between where I got to know the characters, but
Absolutely.
that didn't happen.
I could not agree more. Yeah. And it got me thinking, and I'll end on this for me. I was curious, like, how great would Josh be with a more straightforward plot in general, or a character or a publisher? Like if he did something, I don't know. Like I could see him. I felt like if it was a little more curated and edited and sectioned off, where we got something that was a little more concrete, like it would be fantastic because of his art.
Yeah, his art is amazing. Yeah.
Like I don't know if he's been paired with a really solid writer that would. I don't know if he would object.
Or yeah, I was gonna say that if we could just see his art with a really good writer, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah,
that was it.
That was it. Comic Book Club number
3. CBBC number 3. Thank y'all for stopping by. That was a fun episode. I loved all the stuff that we got to cover this week. Corey, you want to tell them what's up next episode?
Next week we got House of X, which is raved about, and I read, which I'll tell you already is awesome. So read it. And then Ether by Dark Horse, which is also supposed to be great. I saw it on a list of comic books to read this week, so I picked that. So
cool. Ether number 1. Yeah.
Yeah. Ether number 1 and House of X number 1.
For Marvel. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
Thanks.
We really appreciate all the support. I think we've gotten more views than we even expected. Those first two episodes. So I mean, I love doing this. I can talk comics all day. So keep them coming. Check us out. Head over to the Games, Comics, and Culture channel. Like the videos and all that, yada yada. Love y'all.